This is a short one like me. Dudes with Brews on the Porch presents Michael Brews.
Dude.
Hey, my brother, we're all from Ohio, so I was like, you guys want a Bud Light? They're like, yeah. So they're having one with us in another room.
Awesome. Are you in Ohio right now?
No, I'm in California.
You are in California. Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't had a Bud Light in quite some time.
You're welcome. Bud Light's the official beer for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns.
That makes sense.
No.
Hey!
Are you a Cleveland?
How'd you take that? Because I didn't mean it any specific.
Oh, okay. Because people think Bud Light's the bad beer and like Cleveland Browns haven't been that great. I don't know if it's the official beer, so don't.
Is that?
He's trying to be sarcastic. I grew
I'm not
up.
Gonna do anything.
I can't see your face.
Oh, I used to drink Bud Light pretty religiously in college, and in high school. Let's be honest, but it's been a minute, so I look forward to doing this and talking and drinking this Bud Light with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're recording, so let's kind of get into it. You're here. You're Ashleigh Morghan, of course. That's who we're talking to.
I am Ashleigh. That is true. I am Ashleigh Morghan.
Actress, model from Ohio, living in California. Here to talk about your movie, which can be streamed on Netflix right now, Head Count.
Yes.
I watched it over the weekend, as did Rob. But
nice.
Before we get into the details of that, I kind of want to just talk about how you go from Ohio to becoming an actress. Your IMDb has some good stuff on there. I checked it out, and I'm interested to see kind of your journey and how it all started.
I'm going to try not to make this long-winded because I have a tendency of doing that.
That's right.
So my mom was a model in the 80s, and so she got my brother and I involved with modeling very young, but it didn't really stick. I wasn't 100% interested in it. So that's my first kind of introduction to that kind of world a little bit. And then in college, because of my major, I had to have a minor, and I was taking Spanish, but that didn't work out, so I needed another minor. I took an acting class for non-majors, fell in love with it, decided to dedicate my minor to theater. And so, I did some theater, like not a whole lot because it was just a minor. I think I did like 2 plays. And then I was introduced to film. I was like, oh my gosh, it never even occurred to me that I could do film. Ohio is pretty small. Akron's smaller. I was like, I never thought I could even do film. And so I started by doing a lot of background work. And a lot of people don't really like that. It's the grunt work, but that's when I learned film etiquette, what different words meant, how long you're going to be on set, like just learning different elements of acting on film that I didn't know. And then, awesome. And I built relationships, and that's when I started doing like auditioning for speaking roles. And then Ohio only gets like 1 major film a year, and I kind of felt like I'd hit where I wanted to go and I wanted more. So I was like, the next step is California.
Right.
So I packed up my Honda Civic and drove to California.
That's awesome. And, that's kind of a common story with a lot of people on how they get started is, they get the bug to act, and then they do go to California. I actually also went to school my major was radio, TV, and film. I'm
nice.
More focused on the radio side of things.
I did radio too.
I used to do full-time radio, and then I, have bills and stuff. And in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, it's a small place. They don't pay too well for local morning host, but it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, and I do miss it. But that's life sometimes.
C'est la vie.
But So Head Count is this horror movie, thriller movie. Oh, you have a question, Rob. I'm sorry.
I was just letting you,
come on, let Rob say something.
I should.
So this is just interesting to me. So when you got those plays, were you a lead role in those plays?
No, I mean.
So did you take acting classes? Like, was that in your minor that you had to take acting classes, or just? I guess I don't get that.
Yeah. So. My curriculum was like, we did like script analysis. We had to break down Shakespeare. we learned every aspect of theater. So I was building sets, which I'm not an artist. So basically I had to draw with a pencil, like different, stage design. So for instance, if we're doing like Romeo and Juliet, I had to draw the entire like stage performance of where all the props are going to go and where like the bed will go. And then the flowers will go here and then like some grass will go there and like make it like 3D dimensional. And I'm not in any way like a artist with drawing. So that was stressful for me. And then I took some acting classes as well. But when you're a theater minor, you don't need as many performance credits, as you do if you're a major. And so you auditioned for parts. None of the parts were ever really right for me. And then again, it mostly went to people who are in the majors anyway, because they need more credits than the minors. So it was more just me kind of getting my feet wet in theater and being like ensemble, if you will.
All right, I got you.
Well, you also, got to learn the process that way and really learn the importance of a set design and, all like kind of the behind the scenes type of work. So that's also pretty important to gain an understanding of that. I don't think a lot of people like think about it like that. And, they just see what's on the screen, but there's 10, 20, sometimes more people behind it that are making it successful as well.
Yeah. And theater is so different because, you're in front of people and it's live and, people miss cues or they mess up lines, but you have to just go with the flow. And you're learning a lot more information at once and retaining a lot more information at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different beast, but still like so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's that's great. With head count, I went into watching this movie and it wasn't what I expected. When you hear kind of horror movies, you kind of assume of a specific kind of, I guess, rhythm pattern and stuff like that. It wasn't what I expected, but that's in a good way. I guess talk more about, what drew you to the role. You play one of the, the lead roles in the movie. So give the background on that, and kind of what you loved about it.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what you said, I always tell people, this is indie horror. It's not going to be The Exorcism of Emily Rose or It. Like, it's going to have more of a home movie kind of vibe to it, more intimate. And another huge difference in this movie is most horror films are dark, albeit like Midsommar. It's like this movie takes place a lot during the day. And it's something to be said, have horror when the sun's out during the day, you can clearly see everything. But yeah, what drew me to the film, it's funny because initially it was called History, and I did not know how to say that for the longest time. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Right.
And they were auditioning at a casting place I worked at. So I was like, you know what? I feel like I was reading the description for Zoe or Zoe, whatever. We call her both. And I was like, wow, like she's very similar to me. I like photography. I am socially awkward. Let's try it. And so I went and auditioned, and I didn't know like the whole premise or anything, but I went and auditioned, and I really liked the character, and I thought I did not a good job at the audition, but apparently I did, because they called me back. And then I just kind of I remember reading with Bevan, who played Camille, and I read with Isaac, who played Evan. And like during our so embarrassing, during our callback, I had just eaten, and like I always eat before like intimate scenes. I don't know if it's like a nervous thing, but I just eaten and I like burped, and it smelled like pickles. And so we're doing that hot tub scene in the audition, and I burped. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm sorry, it smells like pickles. And like we just kind of went with it, but it was like it actually happened. And I think they really liked that, like, I don't know, that innocence that Zoe has, and just kind of like the ability to be herself, but also like a little shy.
Yeah.
Maybe timid, not shy, but yeah. So and then like, you do independent films, you never know what you're going to expect or what you're going to get. And when I got to say, everyone was super professional, and our DP, the cinematographer, came from like a commercial background. So he shot like Toyota commercials and stuff. And I felt like he had a really great eye. And it was just a really awesome experience.
Well, yeah, that's.
Did you have a question, Rob, about?
I did. I don't know
okay.
how to talk to people. I'm sorry.
I'm ready for your question, Rob.
But so part of the reason I asked about if you took acting class and stuff is because one thing I was interested in. I thought that you acted really well in the movie. Obviously, I liked it a lot, except for the slashing of the wrist scene. I have a real problem with that
Spoiler
stuff.
alert.
That's not really. It has nothing to do with. Yeah, sorry, spoilers, guys.
Remember that time Rob gave a spoiler?
Yeah, it's every time. But I was wondering, so do you? Well, then I can't ask my question.
Go ahead, ask it. I'm sorry.
Ask it I don't know what you're talking about. I've had people ask me questions discreetly, and I can.
All right, I'll do my best. When you're so did you have a different process of like thinking about how to act for each character type?
Yes. So, like I said, Zoe was very much like me. So I kind of was just me. I didn't have to really prep a whole lot with her. But other characters, I watched. Try to see how I can say this without spoiling it. I watched The Thing. I've seen it before.
Yeah, that's great.
And I used that as a tool. So the director is a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan. So it kind of has that old scary movie vibe where it's not a lot of jump scares. It's kind of more what you kind of create it to be. Excuse me. And so when I was other characters, the whole object is, trying to blend in.
Mm.
And I think The Thing did that really well, where you never really knew what was happening or who was who. So that's kind of something that I brought to it. I brought the element of just kind of keeping it natural, because anything that's off will throw off the other characters in the scene. And then they'll know something is up. So if you're very much the same but a little different, then no one will be able to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you, with, horror and stuff like that, are you a horror fan? Have you been in other kind of projects where it has a thriller aspect to it, or was this kind of your first time giving it a shot?
It's my first time giving it a shot. I actually am terrified of horror movies. I like 80s horror. I like Alfred Hitchcock. I like the horror where it comes from your own imagination opposed to what you're seeing on TV. I'm not a huge fan of jump scares.
Right.
I'd rather create it in my mind, because that's scarier than anything you'll ever see. So a lot of movies that come out now are all about the jump. I just think that's such a waste. That's why I recently saw Midsommar, and I was so disturbed for like a week because there was no jump scares in that. Like, there's some unsettling images, but there's no like jump scare monster thing. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think that's terrifying to me, and that to me is scary, opposed to like, I don't know, like, I did like It though, but opposed to like It, but I like Stephen King, so that's not a good answer. Or opposed to like something like, I don't know, like all these exorcism movies, I just don't.
Yeah.
Real horror's kind of gone away. I think like a real scary movie is one that hangs on those moments, but doesn't feel the need to like jump you back in. Like, there's a slow roll to them, I think, to a real horror movie.
They don't stay there like Alien. Like whenever Sigourney was with an alien, they stayed there, so you were feeling it for like a while. It wasn't like you saw it and then it was gone. When it actually came in, you actually were like seeing it for a while. You're like, okay, I'm going to feel like really uncomfortable. It was like that kind of vibe. Like, I like those kind of movies opposed to like, oh, like there's something in the dark and it jumps at you, and then they, like I don't like that. You can go to a haunted house for that. Like, I want to see like, I don't know. I like enjoy old school horror. I really like Stephen King, even though he does have some jump scares.
Yeah.
I like his creative mind behind it, and there's always a story, and they're all from the same world, so that's really cool to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of. I do like movies, I guess, that would have like the jump scares, but I like the classics. Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween is probably my favorite horror series out there. What I liked about Headcount too is like the psychological aspect of it, where that's like the scariest thing is when it's like when you really have to think about it and it just like lingers in your thoughts and stuff where you're like analyzing it and it just kind of gets more and more terrifying within that. Versus, somebody just like crashing through a window and stabbing you, I guess.
Right.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I think there's a time. I think I can enjoy both, but I think I lie more in the psychological thriller aspect of horror, like like we've mentioned before, in Silence of the Lambs, like stuff that is like messing with your psyche, and you're like, wait, what's happening? You like go back and rewatch it. Like that's the stuff that I like.
Yeah, I like that too. And another thing I liked about the movie with like, it kind of brought in this internet type of aspect of it too. There's, things like creepypasta, and there's all these, even like subreddits have all these like paranormal stories. And even reading those can be incredibly like terrifying, creepy. It makes you think. And then I liked how they brought that into the movie. Something that I guess you should say younger kids, millennials can probably connect to as well.
Right.
And then, in a sense, it shows how impactful the internet can be.
Right.
Be a dangerous place, Rob.
I agree.
Rob, it can be a very dangerous place.
Rob has his fair share of experiences with the paranormal, and I'm kind of jealous of it, but at the same time, glad.
Drew wants a paranormal experience really badly.
I do.
Yeah,
Every
a good,
noise,
like
he
scary
jumps.
one.
I don't know. I want to go like on a ghost investigation, that type of thing. I think it'd be fun.
I'm too scared. That's too real. Like the scariest thing I did was in Ohio. We have this place called Crybaby Bridge.
Okay.
And it's like supposedly like some woman dropped her baby when she was running over the river a long time ago. So you're supposed to go turn your car off and put like powder on your windshield, and you're supposed to hear baby noises and see like baby footprints across your windshield.
That's terrifying.
Isn't it? But I didn't see anything.
Well, I'm glad.
But
Apparently, one of the things that a baby's crying is something that is like it doesn't really like even with Bigfoots and stuff like that. Like for whatever reason, we hear a baby crying when paranormal instances. I don't know if that's something our mind does or not. I've never heard that in my apartment, but who knows?
You've heard stuff in your apartment. I'm not ever going to your house, Rob.
There was
somebody was chopped up into pieces there.
Why are you staying there? That's so scary.
There really was.
That's just the truth.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is very scary. And I don't know what, why he lives there, but he does.
It's fine. It's fine.
But so outside of promoting this movie and stuff like that, I saw you were recently at a Comic-Con earlier this week. So,
oh yeah, postpone. Remember, because I lost my voice screaming.
Yeah, that's all right. But so with recently, there's quote unquote controversy surrounding this Marvel universe, Marvel cinema. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as an actress on it, because I would assume, love Marvel movies. Scorsese's ripping on it, Jennifer Aniston's ripping on it. How do you feel about that type of stuff?
Ripping on what?
Yeah, for the record, I have no idea what you're
Oh, really? You don't know
about.
this? Oh,
On the MCU specifically?
they're saying like movies like, even Marvel or DC are like ruining cinema, that it's,
Yes. I think, wasn't Jennifer Aniston said something too?
yeah, she was talking some spit on it.
I disagree. I feel like MCU, DC, that's a genre for a specific group of people who grew up reading the comics, and it's expanded to other people as well. I don't think it's destroying cinema. It's just making these comics into TV shows. It's not supposed to be some cinematic masterpiece like A Beautiful Mind. It's literally just bringing to life these characters and these heroes, anti-heroes that we've loved reading about to life, so we can see them.
Yeah,
I think they're synonymous.
In my opinion of it is like, I have two kids, and they're 10 and 5, so I can't always go to these kind of like real cinematic movies in the theater. But these Marvel movies get me back into the theater. Also, while I'm loving everything that I'm seeing, but also it's something that me and my kids can enjoy. And so I was just interested to see kind of your aspect of it, since you were at a Comic-Con and you're in the
Stanley's Comic-Con. Yeah, I feel like she should be challenging writers and directors and production companies opposed to comic books. It should be people. Maybe people aren't writing inspiring stories enough or interesting stories enough. I'm seeing both. I feel like I go see the Marvel, the DC, mostly the Marvel, but still kind of like the DC. But I'm also going to go see like other movies that are inspirational. And I'm seeing indie films. I don't think that's taking away. I just feel like writers and directors need to be challenged more. We're tired of seeing the reruns. We're tired of seeing bringing back things. Like I want to see something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the next movie I'm seeing in theaters, I think is you could consider a indie movie. I'm going to see Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
they had a stand at Comic-Con for it.
What's that?
They had a little section at Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con at SDCC for it.
That's awesome. I would love to be there. So were you there at Comic-Con? You were there, observing. You said you lost your voice screaming. Did you get an opportunity to kind of meet fans of Headcount or anything like that?
I wish. I was also in like a lot of makeup.
Sure.
I went as I guess Carnage, Gwen Stacy.
That's awesome.
So I had like Carnage mouth. Well, it was like all black and like white. And like at cons though, like you're being that character. Like I wasn't Ashleigh, I was Gwen Stacy.
Right.
So like I was getting stopped for pictures for that, which was really fun. And I just really love cons, love being surrounded by like other nerdy people and like seeing what other people come up with. And like I met Elijah Wood and that was so weird.
Really?
Yeah, I have this thing where I never know what to say. I like think about a bunch of things, and when it comes down to me actually saying something, I just always say something very stupid. But I really love Stranger Things, and I went to like a Stranger Things panel. And I asked the Duffer Brothers if they wanted season 2 to be better than season 1. This is when they're doing season 2, and they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, thank you."
I think that's a valid question.
No, obviously. I was like sweating. I was like, I don't know what to ask them. And I always get like this. I always like, I'm going to ask a question. And I raise my hand. And I like can't put my hand down because they call on me and I start sweating. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? And like for Elijah Wood, I was in line for an hour and 40 minutes. And I get to him and I'm like sweating naturally. And I just was like, I tried to think of something clever to tell you while I was waiting in line, but I couldn't think of anything. And then he just started laughing, and I was like, "Does your hand hurt?" Not yet. And I was like, "Okay."
That's funny.
So I was like, "Can I get a selfie?" And he was like, "Of course." No. Then he was like, "How do you spell your?" Oh, he's like, he's like writing my autograph. I was like, "Wait, that's not how you spell Ashleigh." And he was like, "Okay, how do you spell it?" So I was spelling it out to him, and then he was like, EIGH. I was like, "Yeah." And then I asked for the picture, and I was going to say. This is so embarrassing. I don't know why I thought this would be okay to say. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck Elijah Wood? I was like about to say it, and he like looked at me, and I got so nervous I just walked away really fast. So that's like my encounter with Elijah Wood.
An interesting story with kind of Elijah Wood for me is I'm pretty sure I still have it. I have a 2x4 with Elijah Wood's face on it. Like a piece of wood, Elijah Wood. And we always brought him out during parties. And it was always a hit. So Elijah Wood, he's the man. I love him.
That's hilarious. Oh, I should have done that. I had him sign Elijah Wood.
That would be, that's a good idea. I wonder if that's ever happened.
He likes weird stuff. I was just so awkward. I didn't know what this, I was also going to ask him if one of the pictures was his current headshot. Like I was just going through a bunch of weird stuff. And I was like, I need to just not do any of this. But
that's all right.
I went to a concert once to see my favorite band, and the lead singer was smoking a cigarette out in front of the venue. So I got to go out there and hang out with him. And the most I could come up with was nice weather tonight.
Stop.
It was bad.
Isn't it crazy? Like we can't think
I was completely out. I had nothing.
Nice mother we're having. That's a good one. I'm gonna steal that one, Rob. Better than saying, is that a cigarette you smoke? Like, it's like obvious. I always say obvious stuff, like obviously.
That's all right. I mean, I think they probably get that a lot. Elijah Wood's actually a big like horror movie fan, so you should.
I should have told him about the head count.
Yeah, you should plug the film to him, and then like maybe you guys will become best friends, and then who knows?
How am I gonna do now?
Twitter. You got Twitter?
I did tweet.
All right.
Did somebody have a dog?
That's my dog. I'm sorry. His name's Phil. He's drinking some water.
I was like, one of them is really thirsty.
These Bud Lights are going down smooth.
I hear. I forgot what we were talking about, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I have one more question about the acting in the movie. Actually, if I don't know if we're wrapping up or not, but
chilling.
One of the things that interests me about movies, especially that have long, drawn out moments without dialogue, when you're when you're acting in those scenes, like, is that difficult to go through without like cracking up or without wanting to fill that silence? Or
is there a specific part you're mentioning?
I just like in the beginning, it just seemed like there was a lot of like the camera just it just let a lot of moments go, and I'm not.
There's one scene for sure when the group of you're going up like a hill, or and then it's just like it's a low angled shot, and you guys are just kind of walking around for a little bit, and the silence kind of adds to the tension that way.
So the cool thing about TV magic is that there wasn't that much. It looks like it was a lot of time, but it really, I mean, the only thing that was hard was that we had to hike up that hill like 6 times. Like we were actually going up that hill and going back down the other side and going back up the hill. So you're actually doing like scenes multiple times. And then they just kind of edit it together to make it look like it's like a long shot, but it's like individual stuff that they've edited together.
Hollywood, they got me again.
It wasn't like we were like standing there waiting or anything. There weren't any times that really were like long for us. There like when there were scenes when all of us were together, it took a long time to shoot because we were all like shooting the SHIT all the time and like playing around because we're children. But yeah, that's good old movie magic right there.
Well, it's awesome. It definitely added to that scene in particular, especially like, building up to what was about to happen. So it was effective.
And then I think sometimes too, they went out and just kind of shot B-roll when we weren't there. So then you could add that, and it looks like it's different.
I think some of it was actually like scenery shots that like either panned in or faded into the group shots. So
right.
Awesome.
It adds an extra level of like length, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Ashleigh, we won't keep you too much longer, but we really appreciate you talking with us. And before you go, do you have any last minute plugs you want to get the people to obviously watch Headcount on Netflix? They can stream it. They can hit you up on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You can follow me on social media. I'm Ashleigh Morghan, ASHLEIGHMORGHAN. And I was recently on an episode of The Neighborhood on CBS. I'm on Veronica Mars on Hulu. And I'll be on Kidding, the Jim Carrey show next year on Showtime.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm filming a psychological thriller. Like, we're filming some of it now. We're filming the rest later. I'm excited for everyone who liked Headcount to see this, too. This is like, I was like hostage. So it was a totally different type of vibe.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I definitely look forward to that. And congratulations on all the success. Sounds like you have got a busy schedule, so that's always a good thing.
Right. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. And before we go, we always talk about the beer. We start with the beer, end with the beer. We drank the classic Bud Light.
That's right, everybody.
I think they consider it a lager. Is
it?
I think so.
That's
yeah.
surprising to me.
I think so. It's
well, feel like Rob doesn't like it.
Rob doesn't like beer too much.
Oh yeah, you don't really know the background here. Is I don't drink ever.
Oh.
So
I make him.
Yeah, so I drink 1 beer a week for this podcast.
Well, I'm happy that it was Bud Light.
And I've had Bud Light in my heyday when I did used to drink, but and I don't mind it. I can drink it.
I actually, like I said, it's been a minute, but it is going down pretty easily, pretty smoothly.
There's a reason why people drink it, and it's a huge beer.
I'm used to we're used to kind of drinking these more like dense, very filling beers, where a Bud Light, leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, like it's the Cleveland Browns have like the Bud Light launch victory fridges, so it's just like we're gonna have a Bud Light.
Absolutely, and I do hope success for the Cleveland Browns because I have Baker Mayfield in one of my fantasy leagues, and I need him to help me out.
There you go.
So and Odell's cool too.
ODJ.
I mean, we're Packer fans from Wisconsin.
Okay, so. Yeah, we gotta go. I gotta get off of here. Once you said Packers. I mean, I don't know a ton about football, but I like watching it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy. I mean, I don't know if it's like this in Ohio, but in Wisconsin, like it's Sundays or the days that Packers are playing, like it's like a holiday essentially. You have to watch it.
We don't do anything in Ohio, like of course. Like, I was telling that to somebody today. I'm like, we do bonfires, laser tag, movies, bowling.
Yeah.
Bonfires, laser tag, movies, bowling.
It sounds a lot of fun. I mean, the Midwest. There's no better place.
Hey, I've been to Minnesota, which is very close to Wisconsin. I don't imagine you guys doing a whole lot there either.
No, Minnesota's a good state, but I love Wisconsin. I love cheese. I love beer. So I mean, there's
a great state for that.
There's some cows. Do you like cheese? Cheese curds? Oh man, greatest thing ever.
You guys are great. I might have to go to Wisconsin and have some cheese curds.
They film a lot of movies in Milwaukee, so maybe one day you'll find yourself there, and I would encourage you to get some cheese curds.
Yeah, Little Shoot Cheese Fest every year.
So, but thanks again for talking to us. We really appreciate it. And anytime you wanna hop back on, let us know, and we'll gladly get some more Bud Light.
Whenever you want me to hop back on, if you're like, oh, Ashleigh was so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks again. We'll keep in touch, and
nice meeting you.
Best of luck and everything in the future.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Ashleigh.
Pew pew audio. Goodbye, everyone.